Let's welcome to the program here U.S. Senate candidate Herschel Walker. Good morning, sir.
Hello there. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to talk with you. I've got a lot of things I want to cover, but I guess the first thing that I want to kind of get started here is that Herschel, as a world-class athlete, a college football, great professional football, and then you get into business. How are you able to get the public to view you not just as what you were as a football player in Georgia, the Dallas Cowboys, etc., but now as a businessman and running for Senate? What are you doing to say, hey, this is me, this is the other me?
Well, that's a great question, because there's no doubt people have only known a lot about what I've done on the athletic field, but that's the reason I decided to do a lot of listening sessions all around the state and get out and meet the people, let the people meet me, get them to ask me questions, and find out that, for 23 years I built my own business, a very successful business, two business, a matter of fact, that I built them where I got out and I worked. I worked one business, which is my food service business, for 5 years, almost 5 days a week. I was at a food show somewhere in America, almost like I was out with my little street cart selling chicken, until I built that business up. And also in the Best Bed drapery business, I built that one up as well. And people don't realize for the last 17 years, every 3 weeks, I was at a military base somewhere in the world trying to remove the stigma of mental health. So I worked with the military for almost 17 years, but getting people to know that there's so many other things that I've done outside the athletic field and had a lot of success with it. And I've traveled all over the world, and I know how these other countries are and how their mentalities are. So, I have experience in a lot of other fields, and I was successful at that just as I was in the athletic field. So I bring a lot of new things to the table.
And today you're going to be in the Rome area and in Rome, and you're going to be doing one of those listening sessions with a lot of different business leaders and such. And again, to get a better understanding as to what the needs are in the state, seems to be a very important step in your campaign to become senator.
It is. You want to listen to the people. That's one of the things I think that some of our elected official has forgot, is the people are first. Well, you don't go to Washington with your ideas and what you think. You got to go to Washington what the people are feeling, what they're right now, what's going on. What's going on in this country right now is tough. There's so much divide in this country, and we got to bring this country back together. That was one of the first things I said when I was getting elected. I said, guys, I hate to tell you, but all Republicans are not correct. All Democrats are not wrong. We got to quit worrying about the guy that's 8 feet from us. And whether he's Democrat or Republican, we got to worry about those people that oceans away from us, because they're looking at us. And we got to think about our military. We got to think about our men in blue. The crime has picked up. There are so many issues that we have in this country right now that we got to look at those issues. We need to address those issues, and some of these issues we're having are issues we've had a long time that people just kick the can down the road. We got to get things solved.
And I want to pick up on one of the things you said in that, and that is, not all Democrats are wrong and not all Republicans are right. So, if elected to the Senate, what efforts can you do, and steps can you take to work across the aisle and really get some meaningful things accomplished for not just the state of Georgia, but also for the United States as a whole?
Well, I think one of the best things you can do is just go across and talk to someone and just try to have meaningful meetings. One of the things I said that we ought to do first is do something that's very simple to solve. And I think the thing that's simple is find out if that person across the aisle love America, because it seems like some people are doing things that's against America, and you first got to love America. You got to love the Constitution. And I think once we can get that thing solved there, then we can start working on issues and stuff, because, it seems like we're putting America not first. And just when you live here in this country, you do have to put America first. The people are hurting here. There's so many crime. There's a lot of crime going on. People are not at work. You look at the chefs, the supply chain is messed up. People are out of work. There's a lot of things going on that we have to fix right now.
And picking up on crime, it's pretty much run rapid and has been for the last couple of years, and even longer in like cities like Portland. I mean, San Francisco, it's almost like, shoplifters grab what you want and take off. We're not going to chase you. And even in Atlanta, violence it's just incredibly exploded. So what can cities do, in your mind, to regain control of their communities? What do they have to do?
Well, I think one thing you have to do is we got to start putting trust back in our men in blue. We got to put trust back in our men in blue, and we can't continue to demonize our police department and make heroes of criminals. Right now, and I hate to say this, but a lot of your Democrat cities are now making heroes out of criminals. You see that. You see that they're letting them out of jail as soon as they get them in jail. And then the funding of the police was not a bright idea. So that has really hurt a lot of people. And, there's not a doubt, all police officers are not correct, but the majority of them are. But at the same time, all citizens are not bad, but there's some of them that are. We have to start trying to work with each other and find out what the problem is instead of just demonizing one or the other, making that bad. And Atlanta and Augusta, Columbus, all been, well, one of the things that people don't know, and I found this out from my listening sessions, that 30% of the drugs coming into this country from the border goes through Atlanta, Georgia. People don't even know that. We're not a border state. We're not a border, I meant to say 70%. We're not a border state, but 70% of the drugs coming into this country goes through Atlanta, Georgia. And so that means you have human trafficking. And a lot of people don't know this. There's 159 counties in the state of Georgia. And I found out that there's a gang in each county in the state of Georgia. I think a lot of people don't know that. And I found that from just doing these listening sessions with some law enforcement. And these are things that we have to correct. We have to correct and put trust back in our men in blue and let them trust us as well. Because how can they not trust us if we don't have their backs? We got to let them know that we have their backs, that they can get out and do their job, and that we're behind them.
You mentioned that you spend a lot of times on military bases talking about mental health. Mental health in the state of Georgia. A lot of some hospitals in the past were closed. That's a big issue that continues to kind of go. I'm going to say it's misunderstood or not understood. What would you tell folks and their understanding of mental health and the importance of being able to provide for those that do have issues with mental health?
Well, mental health is an issue that most people don't want to touch because they don't understand it. But what I can tell them is just like any other illness that you have, that some people can take medicine, some people can take treatment, but they can get better. They don't have to hide in the shadows because they have a mental problem, but because we have not addressed those in a proper manner, that's what people does. Because whenever you see television, you see someone that have a mental problem, it seems to be something bad. But that's not life. That's not life. I think almost every family in America may have someone that may suffer from some type of mental illness. That's something I've been addressing for the last 17 years. I've been trying to address it on our military base. That's something that my opponents, they want to hit me with because I talk about mental health, that I've went through some mental problems in the sense that I said, guys, I've had problems from bullying when I was a little kid. And they thinking that that's something that's going to take tracks. I said, guys, right now, I don't care what you come after me with and how you try to come after me. Right now, this country is hurting. So you can come after me with whatever you want to. I want to stop the crime on the street. I want to get people back to work. I want to get this supply line straightened out. You look at what's going on with this mandates everywhere. Well, right now, we can't have this government overreach. We can't have our federal government trying to take over all these cities. Cities got to be ran. These states got to run themselves and not have the federal government trying to run everything.
And you touched on the fact that you're going to be up in Rome today. You're going to be talking with some business leaders, with some other groups as well, to find out, what their needs are, what are their concerns. And I think one of the concerns that you're probably going to be reaching and talking about is Georgia's unemployment rates. It seems they've been lower. They're lower right now than they've been in a while. But yet some businesses are still experiencing some staffing problems. And yourself as a businessman, what advice would you have for them in order to try to solve that problem?
Well, some of the advice I give to the business owner is, hey, keep the faith right now. keep the faith because, so many people are facing these issues right now. And one of the things that we got to do is elect bold leaders to Washington that's going to go up there and pass some legislation that's not going to encourage people to stay home, thinking the government is going to take care of it. We cannot continue to do that. We got to go up there and encourage people to get back to work. That's one of the things we got to do because I'm having the same problem. People are right now, they figure it's better to stay at home. And with all these, I think these mandates that they're passing, it's very difficult for a lot of people. But if we continue to elect bold leaders that go to Washington and fight for the people and not just fight for themselves, I think things could change.
All right, here in the last couple of minutes, Herschel, just kind of give an overall as to what you're standing for as a candidate for U.S. Senate and what your vision is, not just for the state of Georgia, but also for the country as a whole.
I stand for America, and that's one thing I think the people need to realize. And, one of the things that people say, and they say, you're a black conservative. I said, no, I'm just a black man that stands for faith. I'm a Christian man that I love smaller government. And what I mean by smaller government, that I don't think our federal government should be dealing with a lot of the state problems. I don't believe in all the government overreach. I stand on school choice, and what I mean by that is every kid is entitled to a great education. I want to stand behind our police department because everyone want to feel safe. Everybody want to feel safe. I don't care what zip code you're from or where you're from. I stand on just being tough on crime. Right now people are afraid to go out on the street, and I stand behind our military. We got to continue to stand behind our military because these foreign countries, a lot of these countries out there are looking at us, and they're jealous of the United States of America because we are the greatest country in the world. And they want to destroy us within, and they're doing a great job at it, creating all these racial divides. That's one of the jobs that I think that we're doing right now is dividing ourselves because of all these problems.
And final question here, Herschel Walker. Georgia winning the national championship. I know there was probably a huge smile across your face because the last time they won, you were on that team. What were your thoughts when the buzzer blew for the final quarter and Georgia had another national championship?
Well, I was so excited. I was so excited to see Georgia do that because it's been a long time, and they've been so close. They've had some great teams, and I tell you what, this team here played such great football this past year that they deserved it. They really deserved it, and to go and have a tough game like they had in the SEC championship game, but to come back and show people that they're the best in the country, that's what dreams are made. That's what America's dream is made, and it can only happen here in America. That's what people don't realize. It can only happen here in America because you don't have football in any other country. And most of the Europeans come here to even play basketball. Most of them come here to play baseball because this is the greatest country in the world. And that's what I want everyone to realize, that this is the greatest country in the world. These are the places where you can find that America's dream at.
All right, if you put your championship team up against this year's championship team and they played each other, who would win?
Well, I told people early on in the season that I thought this team here was better. I thought they was better, and that's what I try to tell people. Over the years, athletes got better, they've gotten bigger, they've gotten faster, and it's a different game. It's a totally different game because the athletes have totally changed. I love to have played a team like this, but in our era, we were the best in our era at that time. But this is a totally different era, and it's hard to judge. But this was an incredible team, a big team that was fast. They played together, and I tell you what, both the team I played on and the team here were coached well, so it would have been a great game.
All right, Herschel Walker, thank you so much. U.S. Senate candidate for Georgia, going to be in Rome talking with business leaders. I appreciate your time this morning, and, hey, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, man. God bless.